All right, what's up? I'm Ace. Last video, I mentioned, some of this sounds completely crazy. It's, money is an illusion. That sometimes gets people like, what are you talking about? No, I don't that makes no sense. I'm using money to buy stuff. Like, money is not an illusion. Another way to explain that though is, money is really just a means of exchange. I think, the real key when people are saying money is an illusion is the fact that a lot of people put value into money itself. And that is just not the truth. Like the money itself has no value. It only has value in as much that it can be exchanged for something. And so my goal for all of my subscribers, anybody that I coach or anybody, is to basically just cram you with as much rare value as possible so that money is never a concern because you always have something of value to exchange for that money. So where does the value go? The value of money, it goes to what's rare and valuable. So if you're someone that has no inherent value and you're trying to get the money, which has no inherent value, but it's looking for value, then it becomes really difficult. The value that we place on money it's literally completely subjective and cultural. And it's one of the cool things that we get to see, especially in our public company and some of the cool things and strategies that we use there. We get to see it in our private equity funds where, I'm so proud. I think gotten to just get more and more aggressive with the strategies, but so proud of Peppy 5 where, they've got what is going to be an amazing business that just literally came from nothing. And so once you get this concept, and again, this is laced throughout everything we do, whether it's Dealmakers Institute, which is great for a lot of folks that are kind of beginning in this process, whether it's the private equity fund incubator, whether it's the Holdco, whether it's my one-on-one program, with everything, what we're starting to do in each one of those, and we just keep getting more and more aggressive with it, which is exciting for me when it comes to the private equity fund incubator, is that we get to dive into some of these really unique ways of just create. Once you understand that you're going to the beach, like we talked about in the last video, and the sand is everywhere, and that's literally the equivalent of the trillions of dollars that it's all over the place. And now it's almost like you're all on the beach. There's a ton of sand. There are people that are like, oh, I can't get any sand in my bucket, and the government just over the last couple of years just brings out truckloads and truckloads, just pours more sand, and people are literally saying like, I can't get sand. It's like, well, no. Like, look, there's dumpster trucks of sand being poured out. And so if you're not getting any of it, then you got to look internally, not externally. And so the problem is often that we equate our worth with the amount of money that we have. And we think that if we have more money, then we're more valuable or successful. But this isn't the truth. Your value as a human being is not determined by the bank balance. So we see this with people that get an inheritance. They have a high bank balance, but their internal issues, and I've seen this even with people that I work with, which is one of the transitions, man. Like this is probably 10 years ago where I have someone, they wanted to quit their job, they get into a business, and like, man, I thought I was gonna be happy, and I'm still not happy. And so we put a lot of emphasis and effort in like, okay, let's get deep into who you are and who you see yourself and who you want to become. Because a lot of times people are focused on that bank account because they think they're gonna become something else, but it starts with you becoming that. And so now we work on, I mentioned with the process we go through called Pursuit of Your Ideal Self. So we want that to kind of come from within. So your true value comes from within. It comes from you being your authentic self, figuring out your passions, what a lot of people aren't in touch with, unique talents, and then building on top of that a skill set that combines those two things that we talked about from the last video. Have those skills that are going to be rare and be valuable. If somebody else is super popular, if somebody's got, hundreds of thousands of followers and they're talking about it on Instagram, it's too like that skill set there's too many people with it. So you're trying to get higher and higher, just like the water to margarita scenario that we gave. And so you're figuring out where is this next level of skills that I can integrate on top of my authentic self, on top of my passions, on top of my unique talents. And now you get to play the game in cheat mode, literally. So when you're connected with your true value and connected with something like the dealmaker skill set, private equity skill set, some of the things that we talk about that are more rare. And one of the places to look is literally Wall Street. There's a reason that you have a few people that are in a firm that are, 50 people that are generating as much money as huge companies with thousands of employees. And the reason that that's the case is that those 50 people have a rare skill set. Those 50 people understand private equity. Those 50 people understand investment banking. And there's nobody that's on Instagram that's talking about investment banking. So our goal is raising your value. Another way to attract abundance and cash into your bank account is just, how do I get really specific about my value so that you're offering something that is, we talked about valuable, talked about unique, but now we get into specific. They're basically kind of 24 of these things that we go into in the pursuit of ideal self to try to figure out, because even when we're talking about some of the skill sets around, Goldman or investment banking, there's just a plethora of things that you can go into. And so you're building that model based off of that. So one way to do this is by investing in yourself, by connecting with other people that have those values and, quite honestly, personal growth, but real personal growth, not what we see a lot of times with like hype or this surface level motivational personal growth hurts. Some things that I've gone through, I just recently did a Temazcal in Mexico. It's not fun, it's hot, you're sweating, there's a shaman. But most of the time, if you're having real personal growth, it's not from somebody online just like getting you pumped up and hype and you feel good and you're excited. That's gonna go away. Most people get that and they're trying to figure out, why haven't I achieved my goals? Because you haven't had any growth hurts. Literally, when you have these people that are super tall and they talk about their bones just hurting. Growth literally is tough. It hurts. You have to have somebody that's holding you accountable because you're not going to do it. Even if you're Michael Jordan, you got to have that coach. When you make the time and effort to have real personal growth and you compare that with the rare skills, you become really, really valuable to other people, which can translate into just a lot more money and a lot more opportunities. Another way to raise your value is to focus on doing things that expand you beyond today. So that means seeking out experiences and activities where you're held accountable. I talked about just going to Mexico and going through having a shaman and kind of bringing in the new year in a very unique way. But again, that wasn't a fun way. It would have been cool to bring in the new year just drinking with buddies, which I did get to hang out with buddies as well. But it's no, I got this time. People are kind of down. This is some time for me to challenge myself and find another level of inspiration within myself. And so when you can find those things where people are going to hold you accountable, do things that challenge you, that inspire you, help you grow as a person, that is very, very powerful. So you want to get into a state where you're constantly learning, you're constantly improving. You get to the point where you are that person selling bottled water. You expect that other people are going to try to do the same thing that you're doing. And you don't care just because every day, I'm getting more and more valuable. So that is the true source of kind of that feeling of abundance. It doesn't come from money. I know people that have hundreds of millions of dollars that are stressed about money. So it's not the money, it's your ability to contribute to the world. And for a lot of people, they got 100 million, they don't have any other way to contribute to the world. So they're like, oh man, I got to protect my bucket of sand because I don't know how to get this sand again. But when we tap into those deeper sources and we share that value with others, it just is the abundance is going to continue to come in. And so, people think about folks like Oprah, and, Oprah isn't valuable because she's rich. It's because she offers something very unique and something very rare to the world that was rare. I'm sorry. And I would say that is when she offered it, it was very, very rare. And now there have been a lot of people that tried to become Oprah, but that was a unique time. There can't be another Oprah. It's very unique. It's very rare. It's only that one time. It was in demand. Oprah today, if she was coming up, she'd have to figure out social media. It'd just be a whole different game, but she could play that game and that chess, coming up from working in the news and that kind of thing, that game wouldn't be nearly as valuable today as it was back then. And so you've got to stay up with what today's value is. And that's what we're always looking for. We're always looking for the rare thing. And, that may not even explode. It could be the rare thing that nobody, I talked about bartering last time. It's been around for 100 years. So it doesn't have to be that it's this new thing. It can be that, at that point, broadcasting was around forever. And she was able to take advantage of that. So even within the businesses that we own, we're always testing things and trying to do things differently. One of the cool things is that last month, just doing these tests and thinking outside of the box and trying to do things that none of our competitors are doing led to a $100,000 windfall in one of the businesses. And now that's a strategy that we can then take to other businesses, and we're going to be able to make more money. So it's very, very cool. And it becomes kind of a lead magnet for us to be able to go in and get consulting for equity deals and just some other cool things. But what we're constantly figuring out in the business is, okay, how do we test and do something really, really unique? I do that within my personal life as well as, within the business. When I'm talking about doing something like Temescal or just going outside of my personal box, I'm also doing that within my personal finances, but then within the businesses, so that we're always kind of staying ahead of anybody else. And you don't need to talk about it. That's really the great thing. We live in the world now where most of the time, if somebody's talking about something very publicly, like the strategy is just over. So, the goal should be, how do I get unique about strategies I can offer to other businesses, but I don't have to go out and just publicly talk about that. I can meet with that business one-on-one and say, here's what I can do, here's what I can offer, here's what I did for this other business. I want this percentage of that. And this is how you start to get into just some really exciting deal maker things. So when you use this skill set, whether it's the deal maker skill set we talk about in the Deal Makers Institute, you get to a higher level. You can create wealth over and over and over, and it becomes endless. And you look at Oprah, and she created, I love that example because it really gets into, she brought this unique thing into the world. And I think that model of, I think everybody sees that and it's like, oh, it has to be very public. And one of the things that I've greatly benefited from in my life is seeing all the people that have the same thing. It's a very powerful, it's a unique, it's a value that they're bringing to the world, and they're able to attract a lot of money, but it has nothing to do with being public. So we see these public people, and then, even for me, I'm going to use Oprah as an example because we all know who she is. But there's 1,000 other people that have behind the scenes value where people are going to them and they're able to generate a huge amount of income, but it has nothing to do with being public. And so I want to be at least one voice where everybody else is trying to tell you, be public, make 1,000 million pieces of content every day. And even for me, I don't need to make a lot of content, which is why I don't. So my voice is going to be very small, but at least a little voice for those who find their way to this random channel to say, hey, you don't need to do that. There's tremendous amount of value that you can provide and have that come to you in the form of money in exchange, where it's the same as Oprah, where she has that unique thing in broadcasting and in audiences and in front of people and all that. And then there's the guy on Wall Street that has a unique talent that's making outrageous amounts of money every year, hundreds of millions, literally. You have these guys that literally will have a salary working at an investment bank of $50 million, and it's because they have a unique value. So, in closing, money is just an illusion. It's a mean of exchange. Your true value and true worth comes from within, from you being your authentic self, finding what you can do and offer to the world, getting something that nobody else has, and not equating your value that has anything, it just has anything to do with your bank balance. So stop focusing on your bank account. Start focus. Don't focus on trying to increase your bank account. Focus, and this is where that shift really takes place. Stop focusing on your bank account. Start focusing on, how do I increase? How do I improve my own value? Because then the money's going to come. The bank account's going to be kind of this byproduct of it. If you're interested in any of this, feel free to check out any of the things that we do. I have some spots in the one-on-one program. We're taking folks in Deal Makers Institute. We're doing Deal Makers weekends this year. So we got a lot going on. And so a big part of what we do is just, we like to go deep with a few people, not just have tons of folks. We want to make sure that everybody is successful. So reach out. Feel free to contact my assistant, and we'll figure out which program is the best thing for you and get you connected. Thanks so much. Look forward to connecting with you.